everyone, welcome back to Decoding Dragons CouchSoup's Watching Now podcast, where we break down all things House of the Dragon. We're your hosts, Liza and Michelle, spilling their royalty and breaking down the fire for every episode.
Yeah, so I have read A Song of Ice and Fire, the entire series, and binged the show multiple times. And Liza has seen the show and read Fire and Blood, so when it comes to thrones and dragon lore, we got you covered. So if you were with us last season, welcome back. Again, we're about halfway through, more than halfway through the season 2. So if you're a newcomer, welcome. We're talking about House of the Dragon, the big players in the dance, of course, the dragons, which there were plenty of this episode. So let's go ahead and jump into what happened in season 2, episode 6, The Smallfolk, which is aptly named.
It is aptly named, and funny enough, like this was my favorite episode this season, even I think including Rook's Rest. But before we dive in, we'll do our obligatory spoiler warning because we do discuss the canon of Fire and Blood the show is based on. So you are likely to come across spoilers throughout our episode, but we try to save the big ones for our Fire section and our Dragon Dream section. But if you don't want to know anything, come back after you've seen the episode or the season. And if you want to know all the tea, then we absolutely have you covered. And secondary notice, we had to re-record due to technical difficulties. And as you know, both Michelle and I, this is our
passion project.
There we go. And so we are going to be rapid firing this week. So if you listen to us in the car or something, it'll be for a shorter drive. So it'll be for a shorter drive. So we're going to rapid fire through all that happened this episode. Aemond runs Team Green this episode. Sir Darklyn attempts to ride Seasmoke, and it does not go well for him because, in my opinion, he takes way too long to get on the dragon. If a dragon had given me that chance, I'd have been up there in a heartbeat.
Girl, listen, hold on. The fact that before we even get into it, okay, we got an episode of Game of Thrones, man. This was Game of Thrones energy. The pacing was there. The tension was there. The writing, the acting, the camera shots, oh my gosh, everything was there. Aemond running so Team Green. It was. I'm going to just run over what you're saying. Aemond running Team Green. Listen, this man said, not today. Y'all gonna listen.
He said, I am not a dog to be called to heel, and mama, you fired. I was like, okay. I got secondhand offended for everybody, and I like that feeling. Also, the humor was so good this episode. You mentioned earlier in our previous recording before technical difficulties struck, you mentioned the tension is back. The type of tension, the type of humor that elevates the tension has returned because it's funny because of context. Like when Aemond kicked Kristen out to go to Harrenhal, it was good. And speaking of,
it's funny because it makes you clutch your pearls. It's so uncomfortable that it's just like, oh, that was funny.
You're like, oh shit. This was good. I was so happy. Based on where the story has taken them, I think that this episode was good based on where the story is headed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Daemon is still in his haunted horror house, Harrenhal. We'll come back to him, unfortunately. Aegon and Larys have a really good moment where they bond, and that's canon. Larys is very helpful for Aegon during his reign. And we talk about Darren, who we're also going to talk about later on in the episode. And then our favorite part, Addam claimed Seasmoke, or Seasmoke claimed Addam. Whatever it was.
Seasmoke totally claimed Addam because Addam was like,
Addam was like, what is happening? Please don't eat me. And Seasmoke's like, I don't want to eat you. I want you. I came to find you. I've seen you. I've been scoping you out. I know where you live. I want you.
Like when they interrupted Rhaenyra and it was like, Seasmoke has been seen around the Spice Quarter, and she's like, "Yeah, I know." And he's like, "But he has a rider." Like, oh, wait a minute.
No, it was so good. So we are gonna rapid fire jump into our blood section. I have questions for you. Let's rock and roll. Okay. The real Aemond has taken the screen. I've been waiting. So thoughts on him dismissing Alicent and threatening Aegon?
Listen, peak Aemond is peak Aemond. I'm so here for it. When Alicent was trying to leave and he's like, Mother, why are you on my council? And then she's like, listen, emotionally, I am your mother. I have experience. Aemond's just like, the crown is grateful. Goodbye. You fired.
Right? It came down to like a blow for blow too. She was like, "Have the indignities of your childhood not been sufficiently avenged with his scar?" And to me, that was kind of like a blow. It was a little bit of a blow. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Thank you very much. Like you said, the crown is grateful. You are dismissed." I was like, and I like getting secondhand offended for characters. It's fun. It puts you in it with them. And I was like, "What?" But I know
I
I'm happy to
love
see Aemon running stuff.
how straight faced he is the entire time, and he's just like, yeah, your need is no longer needed. So goodbye.
And he shows some emotion. Like I like that he showed a little emotion, show that it was hard for him, etc. Like he is conflicted, but he's like, no, I came in here to step up and show up, and I am. And thank you very much. Your counsel, if I need it, I'll come ask for it.
Correct. When I want your opinion, I'll ask you for it. And then Aemon threatening Aegon was scary, but also if you think about it, like through Aemond and Aegon's childhood, Viserys was bedridden most of the time. He was illing, and Alicent and Otto made sure to keep him from being able to stand up. And so now, to me, Aemond is just kind of taking his mother's practices and teachings as a mother and making sure Aegon's not going to get up so Aemond can rule.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that, and you make a very strong point. I also liked how Blackfire is with someone who can
Who
at least
deserves her?
attempt to hold it, right? But also like that shot with Blackfire and the dagger in Aegon's face when he's like,
Yeah.
"What do you remember?" I also like the fact that he's like, I don't even know if Aemon actually believed him, but like he didn't actually kill him. Like he's like, he gave him a chance. He's like, "What you remember? Because you ain't saying nothing."
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I don't
So
remember
no,
anything.
yeah, that was a good scene. I couldn't
Yeah.
quite figure out what it meant that he left the voting piece with him. I couldn't tell if that was just to like leave
Yeah.
pressure on the wound. I know it meant something, but oh,
I'm
maybe because he that was his decision to like let Aegon live because of the voting piece. So maybe he's like, "All right, I'll let you live for now." But I think it meant something else.
I'm curious if it wasn't just like salt in the wound of, hey,
Mm.
now I am your voting piece and here you can have it and good luck trying to get back to it.
Oh yeah, like I'm your connection to the council. I'm your mouthpiece now. You don't have to deal. You guys let us know in the comments what you think it means because I knew it meant something, but I'm not sure what. So I think
Yeah.
it'll be really cool to see like speculation about that for sure. Speaking of that, we saw like more politicking and maneuvering, and like we're having a fantastic time seeing Aemond do his Aemon thing and run and stuff. Rhaenyra is also making some moves. So thoughts on Rhaenyra and Team Black sending food to King's Landing?
Oh, so freaking brilliant. That was so smart. Like Massaria last episode was like, there are other ways to fight a war. I'm like, what are you going to do? Just like gossip about it? Talk to people about it? Hell no. So we're seeing that like the underlying message with the blockade that keeps getting kind of pushed over that we talked about a couple episodes ago is actually really affecting King's Landing. It's affecting the small folk. People are now trapped in King's Landing with no food and very limited resources. They're going to start killing people over rioting and stuff. So Rhaenyra's ass comes in with her red dragon Targaryen flag with food, fresh spices, pepper. Oh my, so smart. The queen loves us. The queen remembers us. Even when she's not here, she's our queen. So smart.
And like it was like I like how they juxtaposed it because Aemon was like, "Why are they mad at us? Team Black is the ones doing the blockade." But it kind of shows the blockade from Rhaenyra's point of view. It shows the small folk. The blockade is for Aegon. She cares
Right.
about them. And like I thought that was so well done. And speaking of stuff that was well done and like really fun to watch, Addam and Seasmoke. Addam and
Listen,
Seasmoke.
this was my favorite. Okay. So they had Sir Darkland, bless his soul, bless his heart, comes in, he tries, right? I'm not sure if it's because he took too long to get on Seasmoke or if Seasmoke was just like, nah, I'm
I
good.
wonder if he tricked him. Yeah.
Right. But I love it because we're basically going into the parking garage to find a car for Sir Darkland, right? And Seasmoke was just like, I got my own, I'll be back. And so he runs off, and I sent you that meme, which to me cracks me up, of Seasmoke flying behind Addam, who's running as fast as his little ass can carry him. And Seasmoke's just like, let me love you.
Love you. No, because we saw Seasmoke kind of like checking him out for a minute. And then he's like, "No, this is the person I want." So, I don't know if this is true or not, but I did see someone mention that Seasmoke might have been mourning his bond because Laenor may have died across the Narrow Sea. Because to my
Mm.
knowledge, I don't think I've seen a dragon take a new rider successfully while its previous rider is alive. So that could add
Oh.
some subtext. But also in addition to that, like it's just really fun to see a dragon go pick its rider because so far we've seen dragons like the rider claims the dragon, Dany's dragons were born to her, or we see people who have
Right.
just been dragon riding since we met them. But it was just really cool. Like Seasmoke gets really close and he blinks. He like thundered into the earth. It was just so good.
Sir, can I get your attention, sir?
And I'm so upset that like we didn't get to see him actually get on and take his like his first flight, I guess.
Right.
Because somehow he had to get from looking at Seasmoke like what the to like writing, and I would have been so happy to see that. Maybe it'll be a deleted scene released with like one of the collector's editions
Or maybe it'll be another dragon seed moment because I do want to see somebody like stumbling on to try to get onto a dragon.
for like the first time. I'm actually like in the books I really didn't like him because of something that happens, but I actually kind of like Hugh's character. So like if he gets like a cool
Okay.
dragon moment, I'm here. Like in the show, sometimes the show will do it better. I think Viserys is better in the show. I think Aegon is better in the show. Maybe Hugh will be better in the show. So I'll be excited to kind of see, like you said, like a moment for that. But speaking of dragons and dragon riders, I know you have questions for me for our fire
I
section.
do.
All right, let's jump in since we're um speeding today.
Yeah, right. Okay, so canon question instead of canon correction. I have a canon question for you.
Okay.
Is Rhaena the new Nettles potentially?
You know what? I hadn't thought about like I didn't think about it. I originally thought it was gonna be Bela, right? I originally
Yeah.
thought it was gonna be Bela because she already has her dragon. Okay, so in the books, Bela, is not involved this early. So I theorized that they had Bela involved this early because she might be taking Nettle's place, and they could be
Hmm.
doing the platonic father-daughter Daemon Nettle storyline and just subbing in Bela. So I thought that was kind of why Bela was getting involved so early,
Hmm.
etc., and why her dragon was large enough to fly so early in the show.
Yeah.
But so there is a chance they could sub in Rhaena for Nettles. But I still hope Nettles is here. Like I kind of don't want them to because in the book, Rhaena has her dragon hatches much later, and her dragon's name is Morning, Morning, and the dragon is pretty and pink, and so she becomes like the last dragon rider after the dance because everybody else loses their dragons. And so
Hmm.
Rhaena, having waited so long for her dragon, is now the last living dragon rider of the
Interesting.
last Targaryen dragon that is bonded with a rider, you know? So
And
I
you mentioned that in the previous recording, you were mentioning that the dragon that we're seeing in the Vale could potentially be, who did you call it? Grey Ghost, I think.
Grey Ghost. Okay, so this is a theory, because it could, like you mentioned, if they are subbing Rhaena for Nettles, maybe it's Sheep Stealer. I do want Nettles still, but I'll leave it at there's a chance that they're subbing in either of the twins for
Okay.
Nettles, but I want Nettles. So we'll see. I hope we get her. But so Sheep Stealer, Nettles befriends her dragon by bringing him sheep, and like she brings him food and snacks. So, and that's how they become bonded, right? But I'm wondering if maybe it's not Grey Ghost because Grey Ghost is an important like event marker for something that happens later on. But he's a shy dragon. He normally hangs out by the water and the mists. That's why he's called Grey Ghost. He likes fish, but maybe he's chilling in the Vale, and they use this as a way to like mention him earlier, so
Sure.
we know he exists. So that when the event marker thing happens, then we know Grey Ghost has been around, right?
Interesting.
So we'll see. Or maybe, I mean, I thought Nettles was around Dragonstone. Maybe she's in the Vale. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm interested though to kind of let that storyline ride and see where it goes. I do hope we get Nettles. But if it's Sheep Stealer or Grey Ghost, I think they must have a plan. So I'm gonna let
Right.
that storyline. I'll let that storyline ride.
Well, speaking of plans, we know Aemond always has a plan. But what were your thoughts on Aemond wanting Otto as hand? Because it kind of surprised me when Larys was trying to make his claim to be a hand, and then Aemond was like, "Nah, you can just send a raven to Otto." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." What were your thoughts on that?
I think it's canon. I'm pretty sure Otto comes back as hand. And while we have seen Otto's parenting choices, um, he is good on the council. Like he's been
Yeah.
a hand to three kings. And I think he may have been like a firmer hand on the council that Aemond kind of grew up around. So I think it makes sense that Aemond
That's a
wants to
good
bring him
point.
back.
Hmm.
I think it makes sense that Aemon wants to bring him back. He has experience. And Larys, as we see, is also kind of Aegon and Larys are working together. I'm sure Aemond is somewhat aware. So it makes sense. He's like, no, not you, but let's bring Otto back because, I think that he has more experience. He served through other conflicts, etc. So, and I'm pretty sure it's canon that he comes back because Aemond names himself Protector of the Realm. And I think that as regent, he speaks with the king's voice and the king's hand.
Hmm.
So I think it makes sense that he brings him back on.
So I liked that Larys was trying to take the hand position from Aemond to try to save his position. Like him and Aegon are trying to still work together, which could be another reason that Aemond was like, "Yeah, nah."
Yeah, because I think that him and Aegon are in a similar position. Like their
Yeah,
positions are similarly threatened. So it makes sense they make like an alliance. And I do think, you do need a master of whispers or a mistress of whispers, but you do need a master of whispers. And I'm wondering if Aemon's just gonna like keep Larys and be like, you can stay, but like just know I know, you know.
yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that kind of goes.
Speaking of alliances, and my final question for you. So we were talking about Rhaenyra and Massaria working together to send the food to the small folk, but they also got involved a little bit more than food. I'm not
Oh,
mad about it. What do you think about Rhaenyra and Massaria's little embrace?
so in the book, this is my interpretation of Fire and Blood. A lot of the stuff in the book is subtextual. So this is my interpretation. I always thought that Daemon, Laena, and Rhaenyra were like a throuple during his
Hmm.
marriage with Laena. And later on, I also kind of thought that Daemon, Massaria, and Rhaenyra were also a throuple.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
personally, I'm a little offended and sad that Daemon is being left out. And but I think I also saw or read somewhere that Emma D'Arcy actually suggested the kiss. They mentioned that the original was just like for them to have some like breathing and stuff in between, but it felt natural to Emma to kind of like for them to move into the kiss. So they suggested that kind of be added in there. And what
Okay.
was like the funniest part to me was when they got interrupted. They got interrupted, and then they had to like shut it down so fast and take a minute when they were having like a conversation. And he walks in, he's like, "We saw Seasmoke," and she's like, "I know you saw Seasmoke."
I know. He's been there. Leave me alone.
You mentioned that in like our last recording. I think you what did you say again?
What did I say?
I think you said something to the effect of she was like, "I know you saw Seasmoke. Why are you here?"
Oh
I
yeah.
know you did.
Yeah, because he comes barging in her queen's garden. He's like, "We saw sea smoke in the spice corridor," and she's like, "Yeah, he's been there. Why are you in here? Go away." Then he's like, "Oh no," with the writer, and she's like, "Oh, okay, that's a
Well,
point.
we got
That's a
to get back
problem."
to business now. We got to get back down
But
to
I
business.
have to say, so I was paying attention to how they would look if you were in like come barging in that room, right? They did a really good job of breaking apart, acting like nothing was happening because Rhaenyra is like leaning over the table, like either looking at
She's
something or
inspecting
just like,
something.
yeah, just like oh, having a really difficult conversation, and Masari is just like, oh yeah,
Yes,
nothing
yes,
is
yes.
happening here. I'm just weird Masaria.
I'm just chilling here, having an important conversation.
Nothing to see here. I do want to say though, one of the reasons that I did like the scene was because they didn't really like shove it in your face. You know, it wasn't this has to happen because you have to fit into this realm or world or what, whatever, however you want to interpret that. But I just liked it. It was natural. It was organic. It just happened. They both seemed to enjoy it. I don't know. It was a good moment. It was a good moment. I liked it.
I think it's also like it's like a mention of the canon, but
Sure. It's
it's
like
like
a
it's
little
like a it's
tease.
like a mention of it. But I also saw a tweet. Someone sent me a tweet that said, I don't know if this counts as mature content. I'll keep it as PG as possible.
Sure.
But the tweet said something to the effect of book Damon used to watch while Rhaenyra and Lena were, doing their thing. So even if he finds out, he won't be mad. I was like, somebody get him! Like, somebody
Right?
get him out of Harrenhal
He's just
and
gonna be
invite him.
mad that he wasn't invited.
He'll just be mad he wasn't invited. I was like, he's invited in the book. Just bring him out of Harrenhal. There's more stuff going on down here.
Somebody needs to put a meme together of like Rhaenyra and Mysaria kissing, and then Daemon with his briefcase heading to his car in Harrenhal. Like, fuck, I'm out.
On the way.
I'm peacing out.
Finally, someone leaves the haunted house. Nobody ever leaves a haunted house.
Right.
Finally, he's getting ready to leave the haunted house.
But, I love that he packs up and he's just like, nah, I'm out.
I know. And like, my interpretation of Fire and Blood was that Daemon brought Mysaria to Dragonstone because she was so good at her job. Right. And like, he's like, here, Mistress of Whispers, she's fantastic. And then like, the throuple begins, right? So I'm just like, why is he suffering when this is happening?
Somebody send that man a raven.
Send him a raven. Tell him to get his butt down here. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. I was just like, it's a nod toward the canon. I'm still sad that Daemon is stuck up there away from all the good stuff. Like, it's not fair.
Right. No, it's not fair. But we can go ahead and get into our Dragon Dream section if you want.
Yeah. I actually also have instead of canon corrections or in addition to canon corrections, I have Liza corrections because I realized like 2 days ago that I had like messed some stuff up on our last episode. So stay tuned for Liza corrections. Okay, so I reread a couple days ago. I reread like further back than I had read earlier, and I have read the whole thing, but like I try to refresh my memory. So I refreshed more of my memory and realized that the House Bracken and Blackwood conflict does happen during Daemon's stay. Last week I said it happened before. It happens during, because he got to Harrenhal earlier than I thought he did, based on like, my memory. So he gets to Harrenhal. House Bracken, House Blackwood conflict happens during his stay at Harrenhal, but like it's still happening differently because, to my knowledge, like in like the book, like I think Daemon's I think he's supposed to be doing a really good job in the Riverlands during this time. So he's just amassing armies, doing his thing in the book, but in the show he's apparently struggling. And also, I mentioned that I didn't remember the phrase, and I completely forgot about a character named Sabbath Frey, who is involved in the dance, which thus implies the Freys were involved in the dance, which makes it make even more sense that Jace was there. I'm sorry, I forgot about the phrase. The Freys were involved. My bad.
The Freys are here.
The Freys are here.
This is stupid random, but Sabbatha is such a cool name.
Sabbatha, yeah, like name. I was typing in our show notes and it corrected the B to a V, but I had to fix it because like Sabbatha, it's kind of like goes off it just rolls. Sabbatha.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Savathun, the Witch Queen in Destiny 2. So is that?
Oh, I haven't seen anybody play Destiny in so long, but I know that they've been like adding to their lore. And
yeah,
Kate is my favorite from Destiny. Kate is so good. Also, so as far as canon corrections, the dragon seeds do happen differently, but I think the show spreading it out will give us individual time with each dragon rider. But in the books, like it's called the red sowing because it happens so quickly. Everyone's on Dragonstone. To my knowledge, everyone's on Dragonstone. They all try and claim their dragons. It goes terribly for some and fantastic for others. Hence the red sowing.
I liked your analogy previously where you said it's kind of like the Dragon Hunger Games and the dragons are the cornucopia.
Everybody's going for the cornucopia. So that's kind of how it is in the books. Like it's just like everybody they are promised like a knighthood or something. Like they're promised important things like knighthood and land, I think, if you can ride your dragon for Team Black. So everybody gives it a shot, and not everybody succeeds. But I did like that we got to see like a one-on-one for Addam and Seasmoke. That was so cool.
But I
And
liked that that in the books you said that they kind of make a call out for it. So they
yeah,
they literally raise banners, without a better term,
yeah,
for anybody who thinks they have Targaryen or Velaryon blood, like come over here. Let us help
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think it's Jace's idea because Rhaenyra is still recovering. It's Jace's idea. He's like, let's just put a call out. If you have any Targaryen, Valerian, well, to them, if you have any Targaryen blood at all, come give
Okay.
it a shot. And so everybody comes to give it a shot because Addam and Alan have the blood of old Valyria through the Valerian line because they also were from Valyria. They just weren't like originally dragon lords. And then a lot of the other ones are dragon seeds, etc., from around Dragonstone for a while. But I'm gonna be really excited. Like, it was so cool. Like, I wish we could have seen Addam take his first flight, but you mentioned they
Right.
might be saving that for another character. I don't like Hugh in the book, but I'm starting to kind of like Hugh in the show. So maybe we'll get to see his first flight on Vermithor because we haven't really seen him. We've seen him be vulnerable with his family, but it'll be neat to see that from his character.
My husband and I were kind of joking about the fact that it's always 1 degree of separation, seemingly,
Mm,
because like Jon Snow is 1 degree separated when he claimed a dragon, or this Darkland guy was maybe 6 degrees of separation,
got
essentially.
it. Yeah, yeah. I think there's multiple theories. So some people think that you can dragon ride because of your Targaryen blood, because of like blood magic they had done back in Old Valyria, and that's why Targaryens can dragon ride. Some people think they warg into their dragons. Some people
Yeah, that's
think that it's
right.
Targaryen propaganda made to maintain the power. I personally, so Nettles, to my knowledge, does not appear to have any like Targaryen or Valerian blood in the books. So, and she like bonds with her dragon by bringing him sheep, and like they actually like bond over that.
That's
So
pretty cool, though.
it is really cool, and I really want like because they're kind of leaning that way, like if anybody can do it, anybody can do it. So
Right.
maybe that's how we'll get Nettles. I I just really want to see kind of the direction they take that. But yeah, so the dragon
And
seeds do oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
sorry. And then the final thing I wanted to say about that, because you mentioned Addam and Alan of Hull, and that's obviously going to be he's Laenor's stepbrother, essentially.
So
Um,
in the books people say that Adam and Alan are Laenor's sons, but everybody's like, I don't think so.
oh, I
So
thought they
that's
were
how
Corlys's sons.
yeah, so that's how they're like probably Corlys's sons. And he actually asks Rhaenyra to naturalize them after Rhaenys, because I don't think Rhaenys knew in the books until, after she dies, he naturalizes them. And so they become, instead of Adam and Alan of Hull, they become Adam and Alan Valerian. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you
So
can
he's
see Alan like shaving, right? He was shaving his white hair off. He doesn't want to be what?
I didn't notice that. I genuinely thought that was like the shaving cream
Shaving
material he
cream?
was using for his hair.
No.
That was a good observation. I was like, why are they saying it? And that actually
Because
makes
he's
sense.
shaving his hair. That's why Adam is like, you really think that's gonna help?
Oh, see, that just went. I think I was so distracted that the episode was as good as it was.
Actually
I was
good.
just like, I'm just here for the ride. No, thank you. I didn't. I totally thought it was just like he was just living his best life. That explains why they came down when they followed the knife to the white cloth and came back up. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Missed that one. But no, so the dragon seeds do happen differently, but I'm along for the ride for the show. If that means we get one-on-one time with each dragon seed claiming their dragon, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm currently writing like like a medieval fantasy with dragons in it. I'm always here for the dragony goodness. I'm here for it. So I'm
Yeah.
here for this storyline. But and then we arrive at my customary point, is that in the next episode preview, someone mentions that Daemon is making a mess of Harrenhal, and there is absolutely no canonical proof that Daemon made a mess of Harrenhal. He's amassing armies. It takes a while to amass armies because people have to march, but like he's doing a really good job in the Riverlands, guys. Don't let the show fool you. Daemon is running stuff in the Riverland, living his best life, doing a really good job, and I think that I just have to accept I'm not happy with it, and I will revolt. But
Right. Well,
I
and
will revolt.
we did mention previously that we're seeing a little bit more of the West, because you mentioned that there is stuff happening in the West, and we did get to see the Golden Tooth and the Lannister army.
Yeah, and like they brought lions to battle,
Listen,
so that was cool. That
they're
was so
so
cool.
extra. Why are the Lannisters so extra?
But can you imagine? Okay, so like we saw what direwolves can do. Can you imagine what lions
Right.
can do? Like, I mean, people have put large animals in war before. Like, people have taken elephants. I think in the new Gladiator trailer, there's a rhinoceros
Right.
in the Colosseum. So like, and also like that's their signature thing. So
I
it's so
know.
cool. Can you imagine you're just in war fighting regular people, and then a lion comes at you? I'm just
You got dragons, you got lions. It's like, why am I even
dragons,
here?
lions. It's like that artwork. It's like that fan art of like all the house sigils kind of like coming at each other. So good. But no, Daemon is raising an army in the Riverlands. In the book, he's doing a fantastic job of it. It takes a minute to raise armies, but that's to be expected. So he's navigating all that stuff. But I am not happy with it. I will revolt, but I am coming to understand that book Daemon and show Daemon would not sit with each other at the lunch table.
I love that.
They would not acknowledge each other. And that's just I just hope all I want is peak Daemon for this peak thing that happens later. And if they can just get him there, like fine. If you're gonna do this for like to put this on screen, fine. For filler, but just get him to peak Daemon so we can have the peak moment that I can't spoil because it's too far away.
Listen though, like we're getting peak Aemond, so I think there's a chance. There's a chance we could get peak Daemon.
We could do it. They could do it. I know they can do it. Just push him. Just go. Just get him there. Because he's already there in the book.
The way that Aemond has turned his heel and turned like a 180, I am loving it.
Same.
It. He was such a good character this episode.
Just imagine how good it'll be when they stop nerfing Daemon. And just imagine. Just take it and turn it to 10. Right?
Oh.
But I actually don't really have new next episode predictions. Like I have been the Dragon Seeds and the Red Sewing has been like my standard thing because that's kind of what's happening. So more dragons.
And it's a big deal.
It is a big deal because they do need aerial support. So yeah, so more dragon seeds and red sowing. Hugh and Ulf and hopefully Nettles still need to claim their dragons. King's Landing will continue falling apart, hopefully on favor of Team Black. And I hope that they're working up the gullet because Hugh and Ulf and Jace and Nettles fly as aerial support for the Battle of the Gullet because they actually let us see them talk about it this time instead of zooming in on Alicent. They are reaching across the narrow sea, I think, to the Triarchy, which the Triarchy comes against, if I remember correctly, the Triarchy comes against Corlys's fleet. And then Hugh, Ulf, Nettles, and Jace fly as aerial support. So it'll be a huge Game of Thrones likes to end on big finale set pieces, and that I think should be the big finale set piece for season 2. And we're moving, we're going, we're making progress.
And the Triarchy is who they fought in the Stepstones back in season 1.
That's actually a really good call out because they have beef with Daemon, and that's why Otto reached out. He's like, I mean, you want to come hurt him some? But so hopefully we will see that happen, and I'll try and wait for maybe episode 7 before I like give spoilers for the Gullet. It doesn't feel fair to talk about it now, so the Gullet's coming.
And I'm actually really curious if you're going to be correct because traditionally in the Game of Thrones original series with the 10 episodes, the 9th episode was usually the big one.
Oh.
And then the 10th episode was, I mean, it was always really, really big and heavy, but it was kind of a fallout of what happened in the 9th episode until the later season.
Okay, so like it's like the one before it is like the climactic moment and the next one's the resolution. All right, well, I mean, if it surprises me and they're like, boom, it's the Gullet today, then I will explain it in the fire section. I guess.
Don't think it will be though because they haven't set it up to be. So I was just wondering if they're gonna just kind of come out and surprise us and Corlys is now in battle, or if they're just gonna lead up to it and that.
I don't know. They might spring it on us like 1/3 of the way into an episode and be like, you have to fly right now. But we do have to get Hugh and Ulf on their dragons first. So that'll be like our timestamp. But we will absolutely have a lot more tea, and I'll definitely be really happy to like explain. You know me, I drop spoilers, Michelle. So
A little bit.
I'll be happy to explain it when it happens for sure.
Good. So we will be back every week on CouchSoup.com during season 2 to recap the latest episode of House of the Dragon.
Yes, be sure to hit that like button, ring the bell, and let us know in the comments what lore you would like us to dive into next. I don't know if we talked about it too much, but Darren is here. So if you're excited to see Darren, check it out. So he's actually like really important down south. He has a dragon. His dragon's name is Tessarion, and he's my favorite Team Green. He makes good decisions. Gwen's description was on point. So I'm excited to see Darren.
Good. I'm excited to see who Hugh and Ulf claim, because there are quite a few dragons still left to claim. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited, and we'll talk about it when it happens.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for being here, and see you all next week with all the fire and soup.
Bye.